I wanted to avoid any potential, of medications and stuff. And with some of the newer methods, the tricky part is you don't know if 5 years down the line we find out, okay, we have some long-term side effects. And long-term health was my big goal. I wanted to stick with something where it helped me, maintain my goal and also keep my health.
It's Charles D'Angelo. I'm here with one of my clients, Dr. Armit Singh, a pediatrician in Iowa who came to me wanting to lose about 25 pounds. And she's done it. Not only has she done it, she's kept the weight off now a year and a half, all naturally. Welcome, Dr. Singh. Glad to have you.
Hi, thank you, Charles. Yep, it's been a journey.
Yes, it certainly has. So can you talk a little bit about what was going on in your life? You're busy, obviously. You have a practice, you have a family. What was going on in your life that made you decide that change was necessary, that you needed to reach out for help?
So I think the primary reason was I had been working on my own for a while. There was a point in my life where I had worked on some dieting and workouts, and that had helped me lose weight. But that was when I was younger, like, my late 30s. But I felt like once I hit 40, nothing that I did, nothing that I had done in the past, worked. It was like 3 or 4 years of very frustrated, attempts where you would lose 3, 4 pounds, but that was about it. And I had in the moment, gained, and I was even more than where my pre-pregnancy weight was. So I was not in a happy mode. And in general, my goal was not just a certain weight, but to be at a place which kept me happy and where I felt, okay, this is where I belonged. And so your name came up. Actually, my husband was the one who saw your recommendation on one of the Facebook groups that he was a part of, and he brought it up, a couple of times before I went in, because I've never worked with, like a personal coach in the past. So I was skeptical how this is going to play out. But a year and a half later, here I am, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Yeah.
So as a physician who has access and knows every option out there, why did you choose coaching?
I wanted to avoid any potential, of medications and stuff. I feel there are definitely choices out there, and there will be some people for whom they are correct because of other underlying medical reasons. But I did not want to steer in a way where 6 months down the road, I feel like, okay, this is causing something to my health, which is not essential. And long-term health was my big goal. I wanted to stick with something where it helped me, maintain my goal and also keep my health. And with some of the newer methods, the tricky part is you don't know if 5 years down the line we find out, okay, we have some long-term side effects. And again,
the GLP-1s, you mean?
yes, yeah. And then again, I didn't fall into a category which put me like I'm not pre-diabetic. I don't have high blood pressure, thankfully. So, I wasn't in that high risk category either. So I was like that in between stage where you are, your BMI is high enough, but it's not high enough yet to be on medications. So I don't think insurance would have covered it either. So I felt, try to do something which, should work and I can stick with it without affecting my health long term.
What are some of the positive benefits you've experienced aside from the weight loss?
I feel like in general, just more confidence in my ability to achieve what I set out to achieve. And then, better movement, consistency in my workout. I haven't been a person who has, ever lifted, or done weights in the past. And, with everything that I've been working on, like that's another aspect that I've been able to inculcate. And I feel like this is really encouraging as, our kids are growing around us and they watch what we are doing. My hope is to kind of pass this on to them as well, that, hey, this is, how you live. This is how you need to be. And we need to focus on ourselves, even if we are busy.
As a busy physician and a busy professional, what would you say to another doctor or a professional who's skeptical, who thinks they just don't have what it takes to be successful like you have. They have kids, they have responsibilities, they just feel there's no way to do this. And I want to mention, we've done this all through Zoom. So what would you say to someone who has doubt, who just doesn't really think they have what it takes?
I feel like you got to give it a try, because I think what made it easy was that it takes the guesswork out of, what we are trying to do. Once a plan is laid out, you just follow it through, so not needing to figure out, okay, what am I going to eat, which is healthy? How much am I allowed to, how much workout I need to do, what is good for me or not. When somebody else does that work for me, it definitely makes it easy, because all I got to do is listen to someone who has done this and follow it. And that's it. So I feel that's what helped me the most.
So how has it been working just through Zoom? I mean, some people might say, oh my gosh, I mean, just having Zoom meetings, I don't know if that's really going to help me. How has that been to someone who's busy?
I feel like for me, with my schedule, this could have been the only thing that worked, because, there's plenty of, time frame where, I work during the day, but I could do this during lunchtime, or even, to do like a 15-20 minute session at any time of the day. If this was in person, you can just imagine, like, you would just keep on delaying it, because even if the person lived in your town, to make it to that appointment is another like hurdle. So I think that takes away that opportunity to have an excuse. So I think that works great.
Awesome. And in closing, what advice would you have for someone who's watching this? Maybe they feel like they've tried everything and nothing works. What would you have to say to someone who's on the fence? They're just about to click the button to reach out, but they're a little hesitant. What advice would you have for them?
I would suggest, for sure, give it a try. I feel it's for your own health. We owe it to ourselves to do these things the right way, and do it, which, I mean, it's hard, but at the same time, it's easy when someone else is guiding you through it. And I think the accountability factor is so important, because when you are doing it on your own, you tend to slip. Because no one is, and I think that's the one thing, like, you don't mince your words, and that helps. It doesn't feel good all the time, but that's needed, for someone who's working on it. So that has been important. Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story and inspire so many others. I'm sure it's going to make a difference.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time.